about a little space weather? Looking at the sun in 193 angstroms. We see almost nothing happening on the entire solar disk. Small coronal hole area. Small north and south crown coronal holes remaining intact, and no sunspots. And let's look at 304 angstroms. As yesterday we saw some pretty rowdy filamentary activity. Some big-time filaments jumping around the southeast and northeast, as well as southwest limbs. You see the BTBZ while looking at the real-time solar wind here. BTBZ is now more of a convergent area here. Still pretty much energy coming out, magnetically speaking. No apparent magnetic connection to any coronal holes. Coronal solar wind speed up to 7.31 protons per cubic centimeter. And we've just had a spike in the solar wind speed there, 461 kilometers per second. According to the data at spaceweathernews.com, tiny X-ray flux, but generally flatlined in terms of X-ray flares. Looks like the last time we had a connection with that coronal hole was first thing yesterday morning. Maybe a little tiny connection right there. See that big spike in the solar wind speed. Got a magnetometer spike going on there. So we'll be keeping an eye on that magnetometer and looking at the Gong 2 in a moment. KP index is down to 1. Your Cygnets forecast. That's through the 16th. Let that play through once more. Here's your electron flux. See that little dip associated with that incoming solar wind stream, that high-speed wind, causing that dip in the electron flux as it typically does. Charging hazard slim to none. And the F2 layer is looking pretty normal. We got some pretty strong auroras north and south. Let's look at the past 24 hours or so of earthquakes. Only going to report things above a 4 here. So Tonga gets a deep 4.7 and a shallow 5.8. It's about 45 minutes later. New Zealand gets a 4.9. Greece, which is right at the antipode of Fiji, gets a 4.8. Vanuatu a 4.8. A 5.0 in Greece. 4.1 in Alaska. 2.6 near the volcano, near Kilauea, that is, Leilani Estates, got decimated by Kilauea. Japan region gets a 481 kilometer deep 4.3 quake, putting that area on alert for a 5. Another one in Tonga. 4.7 at Alaska, the largest we've seen there for a while. Indonesia gets a 4.5, another 5.2 in Tonga. And there are your earthquakes. Taking a look at volcanoes, thanks to volcanodiscovery.com. We've got Shivaluch still emitting a 22,000-foot ash plume, Abiko a 9,000-foot ash plume, Manam 50,000-foot ash plume, Tucono, 7,000-foot ash plume. Popocatépetl, no volcanic ash detected on satellite. Same with San Cristobal in Nicaragua. Although it's showing a 6,000-foot ash plume also. Reventador, no satellite detection of volcanic ash. Sabancaya emitting a 27,000-foot ash plume. And Planchon Peteroa, intermittent emissions. Also keep in mind Etna and Stromboli still been going off. Now let's look at the Gong 2. See if we can tie any of that magnetometer data to this data here. It looks like there's a bit of a disconnect, reconnect kind of a thing going on right at the end of the video there. Watch the orange line from the Earth. It's going to jump across that empty space there. It's in the process of doing that now. That's your magnetometer spike. And this data is about 2 hours old. Do a quick rundown of cosmic rays. First at Athens. Just to visually show everybody that there has not been a cosmic ray increase lately. Next we'll look at Mexico City. Similar to Athens. Look at Moscow, which is actually experiencing a very low amount of cosmic rays right now. Quite low for the last several days. Oulu, Finland. Nothing special going on there. DOMC, Antarctica. Looks like lower highs and higher lows. And DOMB, Antarctica. Nothing of note. Here's your geospace maps. First velocity. Keep in mind the darker red, the lower the velocity. Blue shifted higher velocity. Thanks for coloring it correctly, University of Michigan. Here's the density, and I would note that there is some added plasma density in the magnetosphere right now. The bluer that white gets, the higher the density. A little higher than we've been seeing it typically the past few days. Finally, there's your magnetosphere pressure. Again, thanks to the University of Michigan. We'll look at some geomagnetic perturbations here. First at the poles. And then we'll see the way that affects the equatorial portion of the globe. And see fields extending down into Hawaii out of the north. North and south connecting in this area, the South Pacific. And a lot of magnetic bleed into the Indian Ocean as well, as we've been seeing. Let that play through one more time as this stuff changes instantaneously and with no warning. Next, if you head to our channel, youtube.com/smashomash, you'll see there's a new officially endorsed channel there called The Electric View. This one's hosted by Eugene Bagashov, Jim Wenninger, talking about the local area of the galaxy through which the sun is passing and the associated plasma. Here's a little excerpt.
Clouds that are that time scale and that size scale. But with the local chimney, this huge scale pinch, the outlines of it is what shows up. All that dense wall of neutral matter that's being ejected, that's what should happen in argon convection. You see that in the local chimney. That was the feature that helped the mainstream map it out. They didn't know anything about what's going on inside.
Anyway, watch that if you have time. They're talking about the magnetic filament on which the sun is traveling through the galaxy. Super interesting stuff. Trying to understand the physics of galactic level motion. Next, let's look at some pole shift stuff from sciencealert.com. A weird shift of our planet's magnetic field is messing with navigation. Not only that, a government shutdown has caused a delay. Now, this article is originally from nature.com. We just wanted to give credit to Science Alert. So, published 2 days ago, Earth's magnetic field is acting up and geologists don't know why. Yeah, we know they don't know why. The release of the World Magnetic Model has been postponed to January 30th due to the ongoing U.S. government shutdown. So, sorry to say, folks, viewers, pole shift interested people, we don't have the new data yet. Anyway, we'll leave links to the article at nature.com. Next, the cosmic cow. See those bright spots down there? Some astronomers think that that's the formation of a black hole or a neutron star. We'll call it a massive radio source. Anyway, a sudden very bright spot, even brighter than a supernova, appeared down there. They thought it was a supernova, but turns out it doesn't have the telltale characteristics. We'll leave links to that article and all the rest of the sites we visit. Next, from universetoday.com. Oh boy, it looks like dark matter can be heated up and moved around. I guess, let me just go back in time a bit to about 1996, when I took astronomy in college. First started studying WIMPs, weakly interacting massive particles, otherwise known as dark matter. Thought it was nonsense back then. Still think it's nonsense now. And this is a misguided way to try to figure out the missing mass. There is no missing mass, because magnetic fields run the universe, not gravity. Moving on. Next, we got an article from phys.org about Cygnus A, which is a massive radio galaxy and one of the most reliable radio sources and the second strongest radio source in the entire universe that we see from Earth. Interesting article here about the jets and so on. Basically what you've got is you've got the galactic core here, and you've got these jets that are coming out in these directions. And we're seeing hot spots at the ends. Those are spots where condensation is beginning to occur and star formation and so on. Good article, interesting portion of the universe. Another radio source coming out of Cygnus. Not to be confused with X3, which is in our own galaxy. And one more article from phys.org. This one's for you conspiracy theorists out there. Hey, guess what? Directed energy weapons. Oh yeah. Laser triggers electrical activity in thunderstorm for the first time. team of European scientists has deliberately triggered electrical activity in thunderclouds for the first time, according to a new paper in the latest issue of Optics Express. Yeah, they shot a laser. They caused some cloud-to-cloud lightning. And now they're working at rephasing their lasers to create different types of pulses that cause straight-up ground strikes. Enjoy that. Feel free to freak out, all you conspiracy people out there. Keep in mind that this is not a laser beam coming from space to the ground. It's a laser beam going from the ground to a cloud. So we saved my favorite view for last, 171 angstroms view. Here's the magnetic lines. And there's your full disk view at 171 angstroms. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, subscribers. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. We'll be doing it daily. Remember, on your way staring at the sun, don't drink. And if you stare at the sun, don't drive. Because that's a dangerous combination of things, like drinking and driving. So don't do that. And in fact, I'll be out on the road today for some period. During that time, also, don't drive. Cheers.